first things first. And if you could let me know if you have some burning questions that you want answered on strategic planning, which we're going to go over, as well as just coaching on the year or your plan that you already know are kind of percolating in your mind, you can do two things. You can drop in the chat coaching. You can actually just submit the question because we're workshopping some things, but I do want to be mindful of time for those of you that are live and have specific questions. If you drop in the chat, then that allows me to manage the time well. Okay. I'm going to pull up my slides and we are going to get started right away here. It's so good to see everyone. And I know there's a lot of people watching on the replay. So, welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the end of 2025. It's so exciting. I'm so glad you guys are here. Right, screens, share screen. I'm going to hit present. Okay, let me just confirm here. Can you guys hear and see me? Good to have you here as well, Kavita. Can you guys, someone drop in the chat or give me a thumbs up? Can you see the screen? Thank you, Sharon. All right. Just to make sure I have my chat up. All right. Welcome. We are going to reset your revenue. If you had a great year this year, we're going to move to the next level. Thank you, Kyla. And we're going to plan for the end of this year, which is great because we still have plenty of time to sign clients if that's what you want to do as part of your plan. Because some of you might have seen me do an Instagram live on this. Right now, we're coming into the biggest buying period of wellness, meaning people are buying right now. We're coming into Black Friday, we're coming into the holiday time. And I am truly so passionate about this because what better gift for your loved ones, your friends, those that you care about, your clients, what better gifts than health and wellness, than all you do, all your services, I truly believe are the best gifts ever. So let's make sure that your business, your services are out there in the world and you have a plan that you feel confident about. Who's in with me? Who's here with me with that? Just drop it in the chat. Let me know. Okay, we got a couple more people coming in here. All right. Okay, here's the agenda. Here's what we're going to do today. Please make sure you have a pen and paper because we are truly going to workshop your plan right here, right now. Yeah, feeling shorter days. I know it's also a crunch period, Krista. I feel you on that. And it's not about perfection because I'll get into this in a little bit. Even in this whole scenario, I had like a couple emails go rogue. So it's not about perfection, and it can feel compressed in the time, but it's really about managing the big picture and taking it day by day. So we're going to go over why this is important, why planning is important, because it's for sure, as my coach even said this to me, it's not the most sexy thing to market, but here you all are. So you understand the importance. We're going to go over the actual framework, which might blow your mind in its simplicity. It's not entirely earth shattering. However, because you're live and if you're watching this on the replay too, it's the actual doing of it and what comes up. So we'll go over that. I'm going to sprinkle in some case studies so you can see the relevance and how it really impacts practitioners just like yourself. I do have a special offer for those of you attending here and watching on the replay. And of course, we'll get into Q&A about working with me and today, the planning. So we're going to do all of that. So if you're a practitioner that keeps saying yes to clients at lunch, saying yes to subbing classes that are clear across town, that has you drive everywhere, you're feeling really exhausted by your schedule, but yet you feel like your revenue months aren't quite where you'd like them to be. You feel stuck at certain revenue plateaus. Quite frequently, see practitioners getting stuck at like a 2 to 4K revenue month or 3 to 5K revenue months, and then there's a dip, but you can't seem to break past that. Or you maybe you have a high revenue month, but then you drop back down into lower revenue months. You're in that feast or famine. You're feeling like you don't know what to prioritize, or like Krista said, feeling the shorter days compressed for time, especially as we move into the holiday season. You're going to leave today with knowing what to prioritize. Whoops, I am sorry. I tried to, hold on a second. I tried to um, move all of your lovely faces so I could see my slides here, and I hit the wrong button. Tech, tech, fun. There we go. Let me see if I can move you over here. And yes, there we go. Now we're in the right place. Can someone let me know? Give me a thumbs up. You can see it. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so we want to bring in more revenue. We want to do this without overworking. We want to do this without feeling the beginning signs of burnout or actually moving into burnout. We want to have clarity on what exactly strategy that you need to do for where you are now, as well as move into, we're going to do today some dreaming. What does the strategy look like when we move into revenue months that might be a pie in the sky type feeling, like 10K plus months? I talk to a lot of practitioners that first start working with me, and they're like, oh, 10K months, that just feels so out of reach. We're going to make them in reach. And I can tell you, I've been in your shoes where I was stuck at 2 to 4K revenue months, and 10K revenue months just felt like amazing thing to work towards, but was it really practical for me? 20K revenue months. I remember when I did my first, one of my coaches does a revenue challenge, and I'm in it today. And actually, she's, or this month, and I've done this a few times with her. And she's actually featuring my story now, because when I was first doing this years ago, like she calls it the 25K and 30-day challenge. Years ago, I thought, oh God, that's never going to be me. That's for other people. But, here I am having a story where I've done it multiple times. And now I'm even shooting for this revenue challenge, for bigger revenue goals in those 30 days. So if you feel like, oh, I don't know if this is applicable for me, I don't know if I can be one of those people, you can. It does not mean sacrificing your quality of care with the work you do with your clients. It doesn't mean sacrificing time with your family. This is a big one for me. Some of you know my story, which I'll get into a little bit here, but it really is, I call it the having of both, meaning we get to have our cake and eat it too, of having a business that really lights us up and being able to live the lifestyle we want. Now, I'm not saying that it's easy. I'm not saying that it can happen quickly. I'm not saying that there's not going to be challenges and hardships or growth edges, because I've had to work through all of those, or disappointments or failures. All of that comes with the territory. But the truth is, when you work through all of that, this is the good news, that it is totally possible. And I hope to be a living example, because I am an introvert. I've worked through a lot of trauma in my life, of even just finding my voice and doing and leading something like this. If you look past to my old podcast episodes, we're on episode, I think 318 was last week. In those beginning episodes, like I did a lot of interviews because I felt very shy about just even using my voice. So some of you are even leaps and bounds ahead of where I was when I first started. So that's really good news. So If you don't know my story, I'm Dr. Allison McLean. I am a physical therapist. I'm a yoga teacher, yoga therapist, massage therapist. That's actually how my journey started as a massage therapist, personal trainer. I actually am life coach certified, change work certified, Reiki. I got a whole bunch of certifications. And here's the truth, I thought all those certifications was what would guarantee me clients when I moved into my own practice. In fact, I didn't even want to be an entrepreneur because I was so introverted, and both my parents were entrepreneurs, and I saw them overworking. I saw them stressing about money. We really had a pinching penny family growing up in the dynamic where I grew up. So I really didn't want that stress. I didn't want to work weekends. I didn't want to miss out on moments with my kids. I had my daughter, she was about 3 to 6 months old when I first started my business. I really didn't have any savings to start a business. But here's the thing, I did it because I was in so many mill clinics. I was in a massage mill clinic like Massage Envy. It was a different version of that. I actually forget the name. That was close to 20 years ago. So I've been in the massage clinics where I literally have had 3 90-minute massages booked back to back to back. And they were like deep tissue with no lunch, no break because the front desk didn't know how to schedule breaks. I've been in the yoga teacher mill scenario of teaching a lot of classes, anywhere from 10 to 20 classes a week, picking up subbing, driving all across town. And here's the thing, it did help to build my business. I'll give you insights on that, but it was not sustainable. I was teaching 7 a.m., squeezing in patients, teaching a noon hot class, showering really quickly, my adrenals taxed because I'm sensitive to that, doing more patients, and then teaching a relaxing yoga wall therapeutic class in the evening where I was like just trying to keep my eyes open. And then I would come home and it'd be like sometimes 9:30, 10 at night, and I would wake up my daughter because my husband put her to bed, and obviously that didn't work well for everyone because she would lose sleep. My husband would get angered because I would wake her up. And that was my Tuesday. And Wednesday, I would get up and do my 7 a.m. BNI meeting, it was called Teams, actually. I did a team meeting, which was great. I met a bunch of lovely people, but the schedule itself was not sustainable. And so it became my mission, my purpose to find another way to move past that 3 to 5K revenue month. That's about where I was during all that grind. Oh, and then I was also in a traditional mill physical therapy clinic doing the insurance space where I had to treat 3 to 5 people at the same time. I was not encouraged to do yoga. I had bosses tell me I was going to hurt people. It was not evidence based. Um, it was too hippie stuff. I was discouraged to go into the private treatment rooms to do manual work that I knew a lot of my patients needed because their nervous systems really needed to regulate. But when I was in a private room, I couldn't work with 3 to 5 people at the same time. So that was like very discouraged. I was supposed to treat out in an open, very noisy gym that was, I feel, triggering for a lot of people and not as healing as it could have been. And so that's all of this is part of the reason why when I actually was fired from one of my jobs because I was running a clinic and they wanted to sell the satellite clinic that I was running, I had a choice. I could go work for someone else and be pushed through be a cog in the wheel, but not feeling lit up in the way that I really wanted to help people and combine all this work and do Eastern, Western, bring alternative and traditional physical therapy methods, for example. I had this bigger vision that just didn't fit in any other business. So I took the leap to go out on my own with very little savings, actually, because I hadn't planned on doing it. And that's how I got into some hustle. But because you guys are here, you can learn from my uh, mistakes. And you can also learn from some of the case studies I'll tell you. But I've been in business 9 years now for myself. I started off as a brick and mortar uh, physical therapy clinic, which was actually in my house, in the back bedroom of my house. So, you can really do a business any way that you see fit. If you want to do it hybrid, in person, online, if you want to do it part mobile, part in your house, like the sky's the limit. I mean, how many people do you know work from a she shed? Now I'm in Southern California, so I have the luxury of being able to do this where I don't need crazy insulation. I know Sharon's in Canada. Some of you are in colder places where this would not fly, but um, I can do this, and I grown a multiple six-figure business from my she shed. So you really can make it work in any way that works for you. I've had some years that were tough, where my revenues plateaued because some of you know my story early on. My first year in business, I actually was diagnosed with rectal cancer, stage one. I was very lucky. It was caught early because I was also diagnosed with a genetic mutation called Lynch syndrome. So I was on all these cancer screens, and it was my very first cancer screen that caught it early. But following that, I had to do all these surgeries. One, of course, to get the cancer out, another that was preventative that put me into menopause. So I did have some really challenging years where my revenue would grow. And then there was 1 or 2 years where it kind of plateaued. And then ever since then, it's been growing steadily every year. So some years are big growth years. When we look at planning, sometimes I have doubled my revenue or more than doubled my revenue. But I'd say most consistently, I'm right in that 10 to 40% growth each year. And doing that each year repetitively for pretty much almost 9 years in a sustainable way, that's what we're going to go over today. Now, if you feel stuck where your revenue has actually declined, or you feel stuck at a plateau where you're not growing, please don't use this against yourself. That is why you're here. So we can plan to help you to grow. I'm going to show you how I have grown. This year, I hit last year's revenue in the end of September, early October. So I'm already positive compared to last year, which is pretty cool. And and I'm telling you this not for sympathy, all that I've gone through, but just to say, life circumstances are going to happen to every one of us when we grow our business. And there's ways to continue to grow or stabilize, at least if you feel in survival mode, with life circumstances having. So, like I said, I've had these scary diagnoses. Just a year and a half ago, actually, cancer came back, but it was caught again early on the screen. So it wasn't that big of a deal. But I do have to go to a lot of screens and a lot of doctor's appointments. Almost 3 years ago now, my brother passed away unexpectedly. So I've had times in my life, in my business, where I've really had to grieve. I've really had to learn how to do things in a sustainable way, and have a business that both supports my clients, so they're getting results because that's a huge priority for me, and also supporting just life as we live, where it's not all consuming to life. So if any of this resonates with you, you can drop in the chat, because I think we all have things that we work through. It's just not often talked about in business, right? Especially as we're all females here. We have mm, some different emotional investments, and I think culturally handed down to us through generations and society, some responsibilities as females that we take on for our family that are more than the males at times. And I think that needs to be recognized too, because I do have a daughter. She's 10 years old, and my husband and I, we had to, when I was growing my business and when I was in that hustle mode, we went through transparently a hard time, and we're in a much better place. Him and I, we went on a walk this morning, and we try to do Monday walks first thing. Um, and we had to really figure that out together. But we're here. So the problem where I see where a lot of practitioners get stuck is that, they don't have a planning process to work through all those life challenges. They don't have a planning process to know what to prioritize for quarter one or the year, let alone 3 or 5 years. I totally remember when I went to one of my coaches and she was doing like a 3 year planning thing. I was like, I have no idea. I don't even know about next week. You want me to plan 3 years? So um, you're going to get a lot more confident in the planning process here. And so you do feel confident for me, I shut off my brain in the evenings and I'm present with my family. The weekends, we have a lot of family adventures. So you know that you create safety in your business to work and go hard and work through the challenges. And you're not going to feel guilty for working on your business and taking time away from your family. And when you are with your family, you're not going to feel guilty for working on your for being present with your family and not working on your business, right? I feel a lot of people get stuck in that catch 22 place, but when you have a plan, it helps to create safety because your ideal working schedule is taken into consideration with that. Yeah, Krista, you'll grieve your parents when they pass, but keep your business prospering. Yep, exactly. 100%. Okay, so here's the framework. As I said, it's not rocket science, right? Some of these words actually might be a little esoteric. Dream, reflect, what does it all mean? We're going to break it down. But here is the 3-part process. If you wanted to take a picture on your phone just to remind yourself, make sure that you have your pen and paper. But we're going to get into this right now. So you feel that you have a strategy and a plan by the end of our 2 hours here together. And the best part is that for those of you live, you can get my eyes on your business, your questions here. So, you guys all ready? Yeah. All right. I see some smiling faces. Okay. Reflect and observe. This is step 1. And this is often the most skipped step, but it can be the most informational. And all it means is that we're going to take time. We're going to get into the actual process in a moment, but we're going to take time to reflect on this year. Okay. Another mistake with this reflection process is that you're only reflecting on what didn't work. You're not celebrating wins. You're not acknowledging what you have done. So earlier in the month, I did the Manifest and Move class. It's a somatics breathwork manifestation class, journaling class, where it's the first Monday of every month, where we set an intention for the month and we also reflect. And because we're moving into the spirit of gratitude, we focused on reflecting on all that you've done for this year and giving yourself gratitude. And it was very powerful. I got a lot of feedback from people saying how powerful it was for them. And it's often, again, I think some of that is just the inherited female mindset sometimes that we've acquired, that it feels boastful. Pride feels weird in the body, that or actually we're just beating ourselves up and focusing on the problems or what we didn't achieve, that we don't allow ourselves to actually honor what we have achieved. So we're going to do that today. And I know I've been there. One of the most powerful coaching I've got, and I said this in the Manifest and Move class, is that I was coached by one of my coaches in a live virtual event. There was close to 200 people there. I attended virtually. So I was coached on this huge jumbotron in front of all the people that were virtual and then all the people that were live on feeling pride in my business, on how this was during one of my plateau years, on how I've achieved so much and how I actually did not even decline during this time of challenge, and how I can feel pride in my business. And I've never felt that in my business before. And ever since that time, I now have feeling that gratitude, that proud, that sufficiency, that gratitude for everything I've done is now part of my weekly practice. I do it often on walks. So it's so important because it creates safety in your business and it helps to regulate your nervous system. And truthfully, all of you, I know, have accomplished so much. So when we reflect, we learn what didn't work. So we don't repeat mistakes of the past. We learn what uh, did work. So we do more of that. We double down on what did work. We celebrate our wins. We acknowledge all that we've done. We pat ourselves on the back and really feel pride for all that we've done, which brings so much confidence too, as not only a practitioner, but a practice owner, a small business owner, an entrepreneur, whatever you want to call yourself, whatever resonates the most with you, but you do want to embody that for yourself. So, here's the process because we're actually going to do it right now because it'll set the foundation, truthfully, of being able to grow bigger if you can acknowledge all of that right now. Okay, so step number one is understanding for this year, for 2025, what has worked. So, the first thing I'd like you to do is write down your wins for this year. And I'll give you some areas to kind of think about because sometimes our brain has a hard time starting with the wins. We want to go to what didn't work first. So if you're like me and that kind of is your go-to, that's okay. Just create another column or do it on another page. Like you can label it this way. What worked, wins, and on another page or column, what didn't work. And try to focus on the wins and what worked. But if the things that didn't work keep coming up, it's all right. Acknowledge your nervous system, just get it out of your head and write it on the other page as well, because we're eventually going to get there too. Okay. But the first step is I'll give you some categories to think about here in terms of what worked. So maybe some marketing tactics that you did work. So I know a lot of you teach classes, have private clients, are selling programs online and in person. What worked to fill your classes, to get students in the door? What worked to sign some clients? What marketing efforts? So I know some of you are playing around with Instagram a little bit more. Did you get some clients there? Or maybe your views have improved, your follower count improved. Those are all wins. They can be small, they can be large. Maybe you got more consults this year. How did those go? Were you converting them? How was your schedule? Did you feel like you had space in your schedule? You felt like when you were working, you were present and focused on working, and you knew what time your day was going to end, and that felt good. And then when you were with your family, you were with your family and present with your family. I do have some questions here on the screen you can look at too, and I'll be quiet in a moment, but also analyze what worked for your programs, what worked to help get client results. How was your profit? What worked for that? So we're focusing on what worked right now. I'm going to be quiet. I'll turn on some, actually, I don't want to mess up the screen. I was going to turn on music, but I'll give you a few minutes to think here. And if you have questions, you can drop it in the chat. If you're like, Elson, I'm not sure what worked. How do I identify this? Please, now's the time. You can drop it in the chat and then I'll bring people, I'll ask them to unmute themselves if I need more information. If you did workshops, what worked about them? Maybe you filled the room, you got more attendees. How was the conversion? I always look at things as the three categories of marketing, lead generation, and I go through the things I did there. Then selling, so maybe calls to action, consultations, the process, having a registration page or not. So marketing, selling, and then delivering, the client side of things, what worked in the delivery process of fulfilling up on the services. You can also analyze how you felt. So you might say, I've kind of felt lonely as an entrepreneur this year. Or you can say, and that might go into the what didn't work. Um, I created a great community. I got out of the house. I did some networking events. And then you can move into what didn't work as well and start adding those in. So, for example, for me, I had a launch earlier this year that I wouldn't say it didn't work, but it surprised me in the outcome where yeah, I'll just say it surprised me in the outcome, but there were some things in the marketing message that I know for me didn't work, and I'm going to go back and refine the messaging. I also have already done this where I'm refining my program for next year. I'm really excited about that. Um, so what didn't work? And as you write down what didn't work, start to consider what you might do differently. So maybe you would do more sales consultations. If you had a workshop where people were interested and you sent them to a page to book into a program, but no one really took you up on the offer, maybe what you might do differently is offer consultations. Maybe what you might do differently has to do with your pricing or your schedule. So, based upon what didn't work, you actually want to try to problem solve and write down. You can do it line by line of what you might do differently. And again, here's another area where some people get stuck on not knowing what didn't work and why and how to troubleshoot for it. So if you feel that way, again, you can drop it into the chat and I'm happy to help you. And if you're feeling like Allison, okay, I know how to problem solve to maybe figure out what I would do differently for next year, but I'm not sure how it will fit in my schedule, or I'm not sure what it would look like to plan ahead that way, or I'm not sure actually how to do this if you're going to change your marketing strategy, I'm happy to help with that as well. Just let me know. So you should have a growing list of what worked, what didn't work, and your best guesses or hypotheses on what you might do differently. And truthfully, this is what entrepreneurship is doing over and over and over again. Because sometimes our hypotheses don't work out the way that we think they will. And we just have to try again a different way. Doesn't mean that people don't want to work with you. A lot of times it doesn't mean anything about your pricing or your programs, especially if you're not signing as many clients as you want. Often, where I see people, it comes down to two things: the frequency of how many offers or invitations you made, like to book a consult, to work with you, et cetera, et cetera. The frequency, the number of times you've done that, and or the messaging, what you actually said in the email or the post or wherever you showed up, the workshop, to get them to that next step. And this is all relative to what you are hoping to achieve by the end of this year. So it's all relative to you. Does anyone feel brave or courageous to share some things that worked for them or even some things that didn't work for them and what they're going to do differently? I think this will allow people to inspire them and also give insights on things not working. Or anyone have questions here? Sage, are you nodding because you feel like you want to share, or you're nodding because you're agreeing with yourself? Both. Okay. All right. I'll give you a moment. Lindsay says she can share. Lindsay, you can unmute yourself. I'm going to just find you on my screen here. There you are.
Okay. So what has worked for me this year, this is only my first year. I'm like just getting on my year now, November. Networking,
Congratulations.
thanks. Networking has worked. I did a lot of networking. I live in a small town and I just met as many local practitioners as I could. I guess I spent a lot of
Very
time
good.
doing that. In the beginning last year, this time I was offering a lot of like complimentary sessions for the practitioners that I knew, whether they were, yoga studio owners and that kind of grew. So
Mm-hmm.
I gained some clients through that. I think that worked in the beginning really well. Then
Mm-hmm.
it didn't, but it
Yeah.
did.
Because of time.
Well, I'm sorry.
Because of time.
Now?
With those free sessions, did it not work because you ran out of time?
No, it worked. I think the conversion kind of like slowed down a little.
Oh, I see. Uh-huh.
The connections, and then maybe just like me reconnecting with them. Like today, this morning, I went to like a new studio's class, so I like
Mm-hmm.
she saw me again. So now maybe I just have to keep going back to these practitioners so they see me again and remember. I kind of
Mm-hmm.
fell off doing that, I think. Um,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Eh,
connections was just like very big for me. Yes, I increased a lot of followers this year. Haven't had much conversion on that, but working on it still.
yeah.
I think just like authenticity has worked a lot for me. A lot of
Mm,
the clients that I have gained this year, now they're all recurring. I offer like plan a care packages. So everyone has really been continuing that. Um, I don't think anyone that assigned the first time has stopped actually. So
that's
those clients
amazing.
have been really good. Um, what else?
Oh, I have something for you. I just wrote it down. With the practitioners and the networking and the relationship building in your community, I think that is definitely working for you. What you might refine or add to is kind of a follow-up system of some sort. And that can be you know, uh, kind of a hybrid of email and Instagram, for example, because I know you're on Instagram, is making sure you're following them on Instagram and they're following you. So you'll stay top of mind just through that. And then also you can create kind of an email follow-up system, maybe even a funnel that if you make a connection, you put them in there and it can be spaced out, like where you're only sending an email to them every 60 days or something like that. But again, you could just have a quick, brief email that just automatically is scheduled to go out, that says, hey, just checking in. How's your practice going? You want to do a coffee chat and do some updates, just anything that keeps you top of mind.
Mhm. That's a good idea. Thank you.
Hmm.
For that. Um, what else did I say? I think that was the majority of my year.
Hmm. Okay.
Things that haven't worked. I definitely have not done enough workshops at
Okay.
all. Um, I had a lot of resistance around it for a while, and then a lot of the studios that I've been connected to, I don't know if there's just some stuff with that. So I have to revisit that. I found a studio where one or two now where I feel connected to. I think the other
Uh-huh.
ones I tried and it just like didn't work. I think I didn't feel like they were the right ones for me.
Okay.
So
Do you want to explore Kavita's asking. She's a physical therapist and yoga teacher therapist and health coach too, right?
yeah.
Yeah. And she does in person and is offering online virtual sessions as well. Do you want to explore the resistance for the workshop or talk about the workshop strategy at all?
Sure. Um, I I guess it's just like talking in front of a lot of people. I am, as a physical therapist, I'm so much more comfortable one-on-one when it's so interesting because I have so many friends who are studio owners and are not PTs, and it's the opposite. Like they love teaching in big classes and they're so afraid to do one-on-one. So
Mm,
those conversations are always fun. But I guess it's just still that when I've done them before, it's great. They're great.
mm,
And maybe it's just certain topics. I think, as you know, I have a lot of knowledge and I have a lot of avenues where I could um, talk about or teach on. And
mm-hmm,
sometimes I think I just need to really focus and hone in on, you know, what I really love and know best, I guess.
mm-hmm.
And yeah, as I'm speaking about that, I'm like, okay, I am answering my own questions, which is
Yeah, yeah, that's the whole
tough,
point.
right?
Yeah, and I have two places too that'll help you too, because I know you're in the Instagram program. So in there, there's actually a section on workshops, so you can take a look at that. And I know we have a one-to-one call coming up as well, so we can get your individualized strategy. But for everyone, a couple of things with workshops. If you're analyzing workshops and workshops are part of your strategy, here's what I find is that yes, what Lindsay said is so important is that you do want to have a topic that lights you up, that you do feel confident on. Personally, what I did, because I've taught a lot of workshops over the last decade or more, because I even taught workshops for my bosses when I was working for them, is that you want to get 3 to 5 topics that you really feel confident on and that will fill the room. So for me as a physical therapist, yoga teacher, It was like yoga for low back pain, yoga for SI, neck and back, um, scoliosis. So I had a handful of workshops that I know that I could deliver on that felt I felt confident teaching it. I knew I also had some techniques and strategies that I could bring in that were a little different than what's out there in the community already. So, back over a decade ago, nervous system work regulation wasn't often talked about with low back pain as much. So that was kind of unique. You can see all these straps and stuff. I literally used to kind of I'd joke, I'd be like, okay, in this workshop, we're going to get tied up by your partner. It's going to be fun. So I'd have some memorable moments in my workshops of like using straps or hanging out on the yoga wall where people would remember them. And then they would also tell their friends, oh, you got to go to Allison's workshop. You're never going to experience anything like that. So, how can you be unique in your community and memorable? And then the third part, when you want to consider with workshops, is seeding your program in the workshop as well. So, I do this through client stories, mentioning that I work with people outside of the workshop, out of the studio. Um, and then over time, if you have, if you consider your 2026 vision and plan is okay, if you have 3 to 5 topics and you have 3 to 5 studios, like Lindsay was saying, there's going to be some studios that you don't want to partner with, and that's fine. Maybe I've partnered with some very flaky studio owners. I've partnered with studio owners that said they were going to market but didn't. I've partnered with studio owners where we had a date. I've already started marketing, and then as it gets like closer, kind of last minute, they realize they double booked and now they need to switch the date and time. So I found over time by just trialing error different topics, trialing and erroring studios that I came across, 3 to 5 topics that were solid, 3 to 5 studios that I with owners that we had our systems dialed in where I could do, 1 to 2 workshops a month pretty reliably, cycling through the studios, cycling through the topics, and it would bring in a steady stream of new patients and clients reliably. And then over time, I could, add in a new studio where I'd test them out. I could add in a new topic as, sometimes topics that worked, then they just stop working. It's not anything that you did wrong. They just, knowledge of the collective community changes. And so topics that were working, suddenly don't work. So now you got to evolve. So you do want to test new topics over time. And then you're also going to be testing the frequency of how many workshops you're doing. So for me, I got to a point, I got so busy and I was requested with my workshops to teach at various studios in San Diego, where I am, as well as nationally and internationally, and yoga teacher trainings as well. I found myself teaching either a yoga teacher training or a workshop every single weekend, which was great for lead generation, was not good for my schedule. So I found now that doing workshops, I'm still doing them. Here we are. This is all a little meta. Um, Once every, 6 weeks is usually a good steady rhythm for me. And for a lot of my clients, I found that that's a good rhythm as well. I do have some that teach once a month, but you got to be prepared for that because it can be a bit of a grind because as soon as you finish one workshop, you're immediately marketing the next workshop and marketing your program after. So it can be a fast turnover. So just some, because we're all practitioners here, I'm, going into workshops a little bit more because I do know that a lot of you do workshops. Krista asked, does a workshop every 12 weeks work? Yeah, sure. Test it. For me, this year, last year I did a lot of workshops. So this year I tested in the beginning to middle of the year where I think I went the whole first quarter and a half even of not doing a workshop. And actually, because I had done so many workshops, I didn't really quite feel it until quarter two when I noticed, I'm not getting as many new people. My consults are kind of trickling off. I think I waited too long in between workshops. But the only way I knew that I waited too long was testing it for myself. And another thing, when I was reflecting on my year, like for this strategic planning workshop, came right on the heels of a previous workshop I did just in I believe it was the end of October, might have been early November, to launch my Instagram clinic. This was too fast of a turnaround. I had some email mistakes go out. Some of you might have catched, but it was too fast of a turnover for all I had going on. So, but the good news is the strategic planning topic, which was new for me. I hadn't done a workshop on this topic in actually several years. I'm like, oh, actually, this is a really great topic I love to teach on. It's very popular. I'm going to do the topic again. But next year, when I'm planning, I'm going to spread out a little bit more. So I'm just giving you these tangible examples so you can see how it might fit for you, for everyone. Good. Lindsay, anything else?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely had a bunch of evals that didn't convert to my Planetarium packages. So,
Mm-hmm.
I always like to reflect on that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't usually stay on that because I feel that I have a lot that do convert, and the ones that don't, I just take it as they just aren't ready to commit to their healing.
Okay.
But yeah, it always still affects me because I want to see if like did I do too much for them, right? Like did I give them,
Oh,
because I could have a tendency in my eval I treat also, right? So, one or two people that I knew that came to me, I saw that they could come to me indefinitely forever, like everybody. But, I gave them a couple of exercises or tips and tools, and then they were like, yeah, I feel great. So,
ah, they
it could
think
be that also. Yeah.
Yeah, they think they got what they needed.
Right.
That's really common. I'll talk on that in a moment. But do you know your conversion by any chance?
I don't.
Okay. I would say, here's just, for everyone. If you're in the 60 to 100% range, that's a good place to be. I really focused on consultations, and there was a period when I did evals to Plan a Care too, where if you're in the 20 to 30% range, there is room for improvement there, and you do want to look at what's happening. But if you're in the 60 to 80% range, that's a good place to be. And it might be looking at small refinements, yes, like Lindsay was saying, I have the tendency to used to when I did evals to Plan a Care, fire hose people where I might give them like 5 or 7 exercises or strategies, and I did a bunch of myofascial work where then they felt they got that all that they needed and they didn't need to come back. Whereas if I slowed down myself and I would only give one exercise and do one treatment technique, and I did a better job of being like, okay, next time when you come, we're going to do this. And then after that, over the next, 3 to 4 weeks, we're going to accomplish this. And we're phasing it in because of this. And I would just educate them on all of that. Then I actually really improved my conversions a lot. But it's also looking at um, quality of leads coming in because sometimes I would find that a yoga studio that I taught at, or maybe a topic I talked about on Facebook, for example, brought in some consults or brought in some evals, but they weren't a right fit to move forward into my program now for various reasons. So then you kind of also have to look back on, okay, where did these people come from? Were they truly a right fit? And if they're not, like, for example, it can be really subtle. For example, I had an Instagram post that was saying, like, um, the biggest lie in it's something like the biggest lie in the wellness industry is that there's a ton of brilliant practitioners out there, but there's a bunch struggling to pay the bills, right? So who I talked to in that post was a lot of people that literally could not pay their bills. So who did I get on the consults? A lot of people that couldn't pay their bills, meaning that it was a struggle to try to afford my program as well. So it's a subtle shift in messaging to then say, you're stuck at certain revenue months, meaning that they're not making the revenue that they want to hit, but they are bringing in some revenue. So I have a bunch of clients, from the practitioner language. How this might look is um, you're speaking to really complex cases of people that maybe are in so much chronic pain or so much. They have so much systemic symptoms. Like I have a bunch of functional medicine practitioners I work with where they might be seeing a cajillion doctors and practitioners, and they have so many red flags and so much going on that either adding in another practitioner is not appropriate now, or you might not be appropriate for them because they do have too many red flags and they actually should be with some Western medicine practitioners to start. So it's really looking at what you're saying in emails and Instagram to see who you're calling in, which is subtle, but it can go a long way. Okay, so thank you, Lindsay. Anything else? I think,
For me, you meant? I'm
yeah,
good.
for you. You're good?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, I'll let
cool.
someone else go.
Okay. All right. I'm going to move back up. So next after Lindsay, I don't know if we'll have time to get to everyone because I do want to move on to the other steps, but we'll do one more person at this reflection stage here. So maybe we'll do two because I think Melissa and Arlene said it at the same time. Do one of you, Arlene or Melissa, want to come up?
I'm okay. I could be really quick too.
Okay, perfect. Let's do it.
Yeah, so what has worked for me so far? So I'm very new. I formed my LLC back when I still had my old job, and I quit my job in June. So I really haven't been at it for too long yet, and I hit my first profitable month last in October.
Great
So,
job.
and like by a ton. So I was not expecting that. And what has worked for me so far has actually been my prior relationships with providers that refer to me right now. So I have right now it seems like a steady stream of referrals coming in from people who knew me when I was at my past job. And because I reached out and let them know, they're totally comfortable with still referring to me, but now in my own business. Um, and then what is not working yet, I would say, is that just like my comfortability with marketing. So,
Mm,
but I've been, pretty consistent with like the bare minimum, right? So
mm-hmm,
I committed to one Instagram and one Facebook post and trying to write an email at least once a month to start. And so I'm starting that process. And I think that the do differently is to work on efficiency, get more
mm,
practice,
mm-hmm,
repetitions, um,
mm-hmm.
so that I can be more impactful that way.
Yeah, I love this. Is there anywhere where you feel stuck with trying to be more efficient?
I think that I'm used to producing like when I work on things, I like for them to be really good and
Mm-hmm,
really polished and really thoughtful. And I also understand that like my patient population, for them to even be on a screen or with social media is costing them
mm,
base points because they are most of the time very chronically fatigued. So
mm-hmm,
it's kind of like I want to make sure if I'm going to put something in front of them, it's got to be
mm,
impactful and I
mm-hmm,
can't be willy-nilly about it because I know that they are using their precious and hard-won energy to look at my piece of content. So
ooh, okay.
there's a
I have
little bit of perfectionism in there.
Yeah, I have a reframe. You can try it on. Let me know how it feels. But what if reading your post inspires them so much that it actually gives them energy instead of taking away?
Yes.
What
If it,
happens in your body when you think that?
oh, like, yes, please take it. Like,
Ah,
I want you to have that. I want you to have that information so that it can be
would
helpful.
would it light you up if you thought that while you're creating your content? Maybe.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
Okay, try it because it's true, right? You have to, right, when trying, like, this is for everyone, like affirmations, mantras, thoughts, you want to make sure it feels true for you. I know it's true. Like, it feels believable to me, but does it feel true to you, Arlene?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, try it and then keep us posted. But
Mhm.
I really do feel because you give such valuable information in your posts that I do think it'll help inspire them and create more energy instead of taking away.
That's a good reframe.
Yeah. Okay. I love that. Anything else?
Um, uh, yeah, I think that in also in that would be time boxing, like because okay, if this is going to be good enough, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there should be a little bit of that in me going forward is
Mm-hmm.
to like say this was my time box and this is good enough and I'm going to post it. So that's I think would be a good move for me moving forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, give yourself like kind of a deadline and say, okay, hands off, buzzer buzzed, bell, pen down, Jeopardy style, and off into the world it goes. Because and you and I have talked about this, but this is for everyone. The more that you put out there, it's all data again to say what worked, didn't work. So you get more data to know what your audience does want to hear more of. So
Mhm.
yeah, I love that. Beautiful. Okay. I'm sure you gave lots of people ideas here. Okay, Melissa, do you want to go? And then we'll move on to step two.
To be fair, Krista Quinn was before me, and so was Sharon. Volunteers.
Oh, thank you. Did I lose track of the order? Okay, we'll come back around. I'm going to teach you guys steps and then I'm going to write this down. I'll come back up into the chat. Thank you so much, Melissa. All right, I'll teach the steps and then we'll come back around to more coaching. All right. So, okay, Betty. Betty is here. So I'll make sure that I try to tell Betty's story as accurately as possible. And there she is. I see her on my screen. If if you want to jump in and share anything else that I don't cover that you want to make sure people know in terms of what really helped you, I would love that. But Betty came to me and she was wanting to scale. Like she has great demand. She's a physical therapist, somatics teacher. She's really helps people in her community. There was a lot of momentum, and she felt like stuck where she was and really wanting to grow more. Did I get that right? Yeah. Okay. All right. And so, at the time, she was really wanting to fill her one-to-ones, fill more of her virtual classes, possibly launch an online program, and improved her revenue and without overworking because you were teaching a lot of classes and at odd hours. So what we did was refine her schedule. So we essentially did this process here. We kind of did it together of reflecting on what she was doing, what was working for her. Some of her classes were working. We kept those. Some she let go. Her virtual classes, what she was doing to get some people in there, and how could we double down more on that? What we could do to fill her in-person one-to-one practice, and then also she did fill it. She got her goal of 20 people, and we launched her group program, which was online, which I'm very excited for her. She was shooting for 10 people this first round, and she got 15. So huge congrats to Betty. So anything you want to add or share for Betty that what you think really worked for you to create all this success.
Well, I was looking at the list when you were just talking about with other people, and I definitely didn't think that workshops, and I was going to tell Lindsay this, I didn't think that workshops would work as well as they have. So, and I didn't think, because I have a public speaking issue as well. Everyone who knows me knows I have that. But I started doing virtual workshops, and I just didn't realize they would do as well as they have, which is surprising to me. And then Allison encouraged me to do a program. It's a 6-week somatics for back pain program. And I was freaking out when you pushed me to do that. But what's interesting is when you do a program, I didn't realize you only have to figure out next week. You don't have to figure out the whole thing. That kind of blew my mind. So I just figure out a week at a time. Like right now, I have Wednesday's my program. I'm like, oh God, what am I doing Wednesday? Like I have to wrap it up on Wednesday, but it's gone really well. And so that's been surprising to me. So.
Yeah, I love that. Oh, and I forgot to mention, and we worked a lot on tech. So if you feel overwhelmed by tech, but
Tech's a
Betty,
nightmare for me.
you're conquering it now. You're doing it.
It took me 8 months to learn how to share my screen with you. It was ridiculous. So, yeah, that's been good. The thing that I need to work on and continue to work on is some of the things that some of the other people said. Consistently posting and sending a newsletter, nightmare for me. And then also, my virtual classes are not growing much, but that I think is my own fault because I haven't really posted much about them.
Yeah,
I kind
because
of just think like, oh, shouldn't they just happen? But they don't because I haven't done anything about them.
exactly.
So,
Yeah, we couldn't prioritizing your workshops and then the group. So yeah, 100%. I think for you, we need to add in a system to market your classes. But truthfully, I'll tell you this, because yours is weekly. I even have trouble. Like my Manifest and Move class is coming up in December, December 8th, and I'm like, ooh, coming off the heels of this. And last month I had trouble marketing it too. It is hard with if you're doing workshops and other things to keep it going. So I'm actually, those of you that are working with me can be excited because I am going to now bring it into my programs where my clients get it for free. And that because I do love teaching it and I do feel it's so valuable. But it'll take some of the pressure where people can still come as a drop in, but my clients will get it and then it takes a little bit of the pressure off the marketing.
yeah.
Yeah. So, but awesome job, Betty. We can all celebrate her. She's doing amazing. Okay. Thank you, Betty, for sharing too. Krista says expand on what you're teaching in a virtual workshop. Krista, it's the same that you might teach in a in-person workshop, just online. So, Betty's done low back workshops, online workshops for sciatica. And so she's just giving strategies for helping that and seeding her program. And her workshops are, I hope you don't mind me saying $50. And she had, was it 30 people your last workshop? She had 30 people. And
I just say one thing too, Allison, like if
please.
whomever asked that question, like the thing you have to get over is you only need to know like 10 or 15% more than the people that are signing up for the workshop. Like really. So if you can just like bring something to them, it doesn't have to be like this huge, and the feedback was really good. But sleep for somatics for
Oh,
sleep.
yeah, you did that
As well.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
well
right.
too. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Yeah, I mean like here, this workshop right here, these techniques, they're not earth shattering, but we're doing it together and that's the power because on your own you might not reflect and do all this work or dream or give yourself, that time to really have gratitude for yourself. That's what makes the workshop powerful. Kavita, she marketed it in you to your classes and online. Yeah. And I think someone asked your follower account. She just recently doubled her following on
Yeah.
Instagram. What do you have 1,500 now?
Yeah, and also if you say when you're advertising on Instagram for a workshop, if you mention that you don't have to make it live, you can get a recording. A lot of people did that as well. Like of the 31 people that signed up for that workshop, probably 10 people wanted the recording, and they were happy with that. They were happy to pay $50 for that.
Yeah, Sage, I did that too. It's similar to so Sage says for the replay, my big struggling is offering too much in a workshop and then they leave with my entire process and a lot of ahas. Yes. Um, it's an
Less
art.
is more.
It's an art, truly. And this also comes back to what Lindsay was saying in the eval of, for me, I would actually in my workshops, okay, evals, yes, I really had to be aware of how many techniques, and this is true for workshops. I did used to fire hose. My client Jenna, I don't know if she's here. We had a long talk about this in one of our sessions. Is that you can give clients, whether it's an eval or a workshop, like 10 exercises, go through this very, complex flow and strategies. But the truth of it is if it's too much and too complex, they're not going to implement it on their own. So it really isn't a win for them or a takeaway. And I found that was happening a lot in my evals when I would give 5 to 7 exercises, they actually wouldn't get the results because they weren't implementing everything. Or the workshops where I would give them like very long sequences and a whole bunch of stuff. Again, like who can do that on their own when you're the expert to guide them through it? That's part of the work sometimes as practitioners, and I think it was maybe ingrained to us in our certifications and in our, schooling, is that, we just do these how-to steps. We're just giving them the stuff and they are supposed to be these compliant patients and clients and go off and do it on their own. But actually, you're a more powerful practitioner when you're able to, that's the whole reason why I do programs, is to slow down and say, oh, you didn't do it? Okay, maybe our list was too long. Maybe we need to look at the schedule, or we need to look at the mindset blocks that's, stopping you from, implementing. And we need to reframe, how we're thinking of people, instead of being like non-compliant, that they're just stuck and that's why they need our help. And that reframe allowed me to then, when I teach workshops or evals, is to do a lot less. Because then I knew in my program, I would help them so much better and I could sell it in a very authentic way, because I knew, I'm like, if you get in my program, I'm going to help you so much better than me just giving you a list of things to do on your own. So that's what really helped me to kind of change how much I was doing in workshops. And then the other thing that really helped me in workshops was seeding client stories as well. So people could really try it on for themselves and see tangibly how people use the information and made changes in their lives. So I hope that helps all of you. Okay, we're going to go on to the next step, so I make sure I cover everything and then I will cycle back around. Okay, so what we're going to do right now is actually dream. And one of the biggest mistakes I see, we're actually putting a pin in those two lists of what worked, what didn't work. We're putting a pin in them. We're going to come back. I'll tell you how we're using them. But we're going to move on to dreaming just for a moment, because the biggest mistake I see is, like, as entrepreneurs, we either don't let ourselves dream or carve out the time to dream, or B, we try to dream, but then we put so many filters on it. Well, I have a dream for a program, but I don't think they'll like it, or they're not going to pay this much money, or they're not going to want to work with me for 6 months. It's too long. So we like actually shut down our dreams before we even have a chance to let them see the light of day. So I want everyone, we're going to actually take time here to do this right now so that it'll help you plan for next year. Now, when we dream, it can be for next year. For me, sometimes though, dreaming about what I actually wanted for next year would put me in a fight or flight and freeze response, because my brain would start to go, well, I don't know how I'm going to make this happen. This isn't really reality. So sometimes when I would dream, it would help me to think more bigger picture of what might be possible for the next 5 years. So listen to your nervous system and you do you. whether you're going to dream on a small goal, like for next year, what you want next year to be, or what you want for a big picture. But when we do this, this is actually, and we write it down and we declare for, to the universe what you really want, then it also opens our mind to the creativity of the strategies. Because sometimes, I'm just the facilitator of the strategies. I can be feedback on the proven systems that have worked and shorten the learning curve. But a lot of my clients bring ideas to the table that I haven't tried before or that I haven't thought of, because everyone's business is unique, and I don't know what's happening in the inside of your head. So the only way to get your unique ideas out is to give it a space for that to happen. So just take a moment here, and you can put down your pen, close your eyes. Just take a couple deep breaths. As you inhale, allow your belly to fill up, drawing air all the way up to your chest. As you exhale, open mouth, big sigh, let it go. Let go of anything blocking your way, any stress, tension. Just breathe it out. And then inhale, allow the air to rush back in, fill up. Exhale, let it go. Any of the filters, any of the blocks, any of the worries, just letting it go, 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 go. And then do that once more at your own pace. And then just allow your natural rhythm to come back in. You can open your eyes if that would serve you and write it down, or keep your eyes closed and do this more as a visualization or as a meditation. But imagine yourself at the end of next year. So December 2026. And you're about to sit down to a family meal. Maybe your parents are there, maybe cousins, aunts, uncles, your children, your partners. Maybe it's a friendsgiving. Just imagine some type of meal. And you're sitting there and you're just so happy. You're feeling pride in your business. You're feeling gratitude for all that you've accomplished and done. You're really present there with those around you, feeling their energy, and you're happy. And someone at the table turns to you and they say, "How's your business going? How did your year go?" And you tell them what made it a success for you. I want you to take a moment to consider what that is for you. You can write it down or just meditate on it. And again, if dreaming of next year causes your nervous system to kind of shut down, do it bigger, like 5 years from now, 3 years from now. And try to be as specific as possible. What made it success? What was your marketing like? What was your Instagram following and posts like? The views? Did you do workshops? What were they like? The in-person or online? How many people? Get detailed. And what made it a success? How many clients were you working with? What was the program like? What were the results like? And if your brain tries to filter it out, well, that can't happen, or what about this? Just say, thank you, nervous system, for trying to keep me safe. But right now, I'm letting go of that. Just come back to the dream. We'll do a couple more minutes here. Bring in your ideal schedule, how many people you want to work with, your revenue. And if you feel courageous, what we're going to do, I want you to drop your dream in a summarized form or one area that's really important to you. Drop it in the chat so you can have the accountability and the support from this amazing community we created here. You can declare it to the universe, make it public. Only if you feel that you want to, but it is a powerful thing. So whenever you're ready, you can just start dropping it in the chat. One thing or a bunch of things. Shuva. Last thing she wrote on my list, more fun in my business. I love that. Yes. My coach has to remind me of that too, because I am a workhorse. I have that mindset of work hard, then I'm deserving of all the things, or work hard. That's what creates the success. And she's always like, Allison, have more fun in your business. Actually, it is so, I create more, I do more when I do have more fun. Arlene, her online work becomes a trusted resource for patients and PT colleagues. I'm being invited to speak and teach as a subject matter expert and patient advocate. I love that. And you're already doing it. You are already living it, my friend. I love it. Kayla, she wants time and location freedom, more control over her day-to-day schedule, while bringing in financial abundance. I love that too. Wonderful. Okay, so what we're going to do, I know there's more coaching, but I'm going to, since we're in this dream state vibe, I'm going to move right into, I'll tell Dana's story. So that might help to seal it in even more, give you confidence that it is possible. And then we're going to move into step 3 so we can begin to strategize. And then I'll open the floor for more coaching and come back to the people that commented in earlier in the chat and then other people too. So we'll move into step 3 and then we'll do more coaching. Sharon wants to stay true to her own business and not get derailed by others. That's huge. That's a big one for me, is keeping the blinders on. Feel more confident in self and step to it. I love it. Kirsten says, I have consistent schedule where I don't try to do all the things, a balance between hats, coaching, teaching, working, exams, massage, clinical, and it's a lot of hats. My schedule allows you to have time to reconnect with myself and my relationship. I love that too, and make sure I didn't miss anyone. Okay, beautiful. Okay, so Dana, she came to me. If some of you are new, this is why I'm highlighting Dana. She came to me her first year in business and was teaching workshops out in the community, classes. She's a physical therapist, yoga teacher, but they weren't converting to patients. She literally, I think, had one, maybe two patients, and she wanted to bring in more revenue. And she actually is going to hit her first six-figure year in business, her first full year in business. She started hitting 7 to 9K months, and then, implementing a lot of all that we talked about here today, started getting more students from her classes, from her workshops, and then converting them. She had a lot of shoulding going on where, like, as a PT, I should be doing it this way. As a yoga teacher, I'm going to charge this for sessions. And we actually brought it all together into one program, which simplified things for her mind and her business. And she, within 6 months, started hitting 7 to 9K revenue months. So really changed everything for her. She got booked out and has a wait list. And actually now she's a hybrid where she does take some insurance, but she's so busy that we're starting to let go of some of those insurances and work on her online program as well. So if you're new, it can happen quickly as well. Okay, so we are going to strategize now. So now I want you to pull up those lists of what worked, what didn't work, what you might do differently, and then the dream. And we're going to put it all together. And where I see mistakes with strategizing is you might, when you're looking at next year, have too many goals all at once, or you're focusing on a goal that's 3 years ahead instead of focusing on what you actually need for next year. I used to do that, was notorious for solving problems that were really 3 years from now instead of the actual focus of what my business needed. Not having a clear timeline, and then failure to anticipate obstacles. So we're going to go over all of that now. So I missed a slide there, or maybe so that you can hit your revenue goals. Okay, so what I want you to do is, some of you dropped it in the chat, right at the top of your paper, that vision or some of those goals that you really want to achieve for next year. Now, again, if next year causes the nervous system to shut down, you can do bigger picture, but you still want to have a sense at the end of this of what your takeaways for next year to be focusing and prioritizing. You do want to know what those are. So just consider that if you're doing beyond next year. So write that down for yourself. And I know a lot of you are really skilled and have a lot that you want to do and accomplish, because, sometimes that's the nature of being an entrepreneur. We're very creative and there's a lot that we can do. So what I want you to do is, if you look at this list and it kind of feels large or overwhelming, or it's scattered in different areas, like I want to grow my Instagram, I want to do workshops in person, I want to increase my networking, I want to bring in an online program, I want to increase my revenue. I want you, now this is going to be the hard part and maybe where you might want some coaching. I want you to prioritize 1, 2, and 3. So pick your top 3 priorities and actually label them priority 1. If your revenue is priority 1, make that be, because the decisions that you might make or the priorities that you might choose to prioritize will be different if it's your revenue versus your schedule. And sometimes we do have to make hard decisions in what to prioritize. So list them. What's your 3 priorities? And it's not that the others might not get done. You know, they might be brought in for next year, or they might be the future year's problems. I'll just tell a story. One of the coaches that I hired several years ago, I think some of you know this story. I hired her because I wanted to hit 10K plus revenue months, but that was when my schedule was kind of all over the place. And I did hit some 10 to 15K revenue months, but it wasn't consistent. They were like, I felt like flukes, and I wanted to make it more consistent. It also was like when I had hit like a 12K revenue month, I would have no idea how I could replicate it because I was so tired and burnt out. I was like, I don't have any more room in my schedule. Like, how do I hit 20K months? So I thought she was going to give me the strategy on how to hit, consistent 10K months so it wasn't a fluke. But what we actually worked on for the 6 months was my schedule. So sometimes we don't know what we need to prioritize. And then it was the second round that I worked with her that my revenue increased. Yeah, Sage.
So I'm wondering if you can just help here. In terms of goals, there's a lot of like smaller goals within the larger goal. So I'm trying to break down like my top three. And like one is like, I'd love to have consistent 10K months. I want to refine and launch my signature digital program, and I want to lead 1 or 2 retreats. So those are like my big goals. But under that, right, like consistent one-on-one clients as part of my like kind of revenue goal. But under that would also be like consistent workshops to be like a funnel for that, or so I guess, are these like really big picture goals, and then we're going to break them down into like the smaller goals, because like I need a new portal system, and that's a goal, but that's really related to like the programs I want to launch virtually. So yeah, maybe you can clarify a little bit that for me.
Yeah, I love this. So great question. So how I just like to do a brain dump and get it out of my head to start. And then I see how the goals actually might relate to each other. So for example, for Sage, selling more of her online program will help her to hit 10K months. Actually, maybe filling some of these retreats and workshops might help her get more online clients. So some of the goals relate to each other, and you can even start to look big picture in your business at, okay, if the 10K months, getting more people into my program is the ultimate goal, how could some of these other smaller goals be like the funnel to the bigger goal? So the retreats might be a funnel, the workshops, your Instagram, like they're all leading to filling that online program to help you hit 10K months. You see that? So then, yes, when you get that kind of mapped out for yourself, you do want to say, okay, so if I look at the top, then what do I need to help fill retreats? Well, I might need, more visibility on my Instagram posts. I might need to send more emails. I might have to have, yes, for my online program, a portal ready. So then it's writing out those small things. And then it's looking at quarter 1 and quarter 2 and seeing like in a sustainable way. And sometimes it's a guess, right? It's a hypothesis of what you can achieve in quarter 1 and quarter 2 and starting to plan for it that way. And here's like what one of my coaches always says: we always underestimate or overestimate all that we can do in a quarter or in a week, right? We always overestimate all that we can do. So for me, what helps is building in lots of buffer space or forcing myself to say, actually, for quarter 1, I'm only going to choose 2 things. And if I finish them and bring another one in, that's okay. But I'm going to try to plan for quarter 1, 2 of those things that are going to help to fill the online program and fill my retreats. Does that make sense? Okay, so I'll give you guys a minute to kind of think about that from that perspective. And again, if this is your first time really doing it, sometimes you just have to hypothesize how long something might take you, how much time is needed. Or for me, when I was building like consistent consults, for example, I didn't know how many workshops it would take actually to start getting consistent consults from. And when you're considering what to prioritize for quarter one and quarter two, you want to look at the list of what worked, compare that with your goals. Will what worked help you to hit your goals? Definitely, that should be a priority. And then the troubleshooting of what didn't work, how can that inform what you're going to prioritize as well? And also, as you're putting things down on the paper and strategizing, you want to consider what might get in the way. So, for example, for me, if I had all the time in the world, Monday through Friday, in my ideal working schedule, I actually might get all this stuff done. But some days my daughter's homesick. Some days I have to go for a surprise cancer screen, which hijacks my whole day because I have to be sedated. And then I'm triggered the day before and worried the day after because now I have to wait for lab results. So, what could get in the way mentally, emotionally, and actually like life circumstances? And how could you plan for that? And for me, it's always buffer space in the schedule, doing less than I think I should be doing. Okay. I'm going to move on to the case study. Oh, there's what's possible. Um, and then we're going to move into, I'm going to tell you the special offer I have for you guys joining and on the replay. And then we'll use the remaining time to coach and go over questions and answers. And this replay will be sent out later today. And you can watch it and do this as much as you want for the future too. Okay, I love that you guys are coming together in community. That makes me happy. So, my client Rachel came to me. If you're feeling overwhelmed by all that you have to do and you're feeling tired, she was working a lot and she was stuck at 3 to 5K revenue months. She's an acupuncturist and a functional medicine practitioner. And she was stuck at 3 to 5K revenue months, but been in business for herself for many, many years. Wanted to bring in an online program, had tried before, but hadn't had success with that. Didn't know how to get out of one-to-one acupuncture back to back to back, which was keeping her stuck and tired. So we figured out her online program, which in functional medicine, which was different than what she had tried in the past. We created a streamlined marketing plan, which a lot of you are doing here today. We mapped out that client journey, that funnel. We figured out her schedule and made sure that her business was supporting her energy and the time she wanted to spend with her son as a mom. And she within 6 months of us working together, started hitting consistent 5-figure months. And still now she's in another round with me, and she still hits anywhere from like 10K all the way up to 18K months. She's usually like right in the middle. And so that has changed her business. And because she is out of that one-to-one back-to-back, she's reduced she still does acupuncture. She loves acupuncture. She just has a cap on how much acupuncture she does. And she does have she signs a lot of functional medicine clients. So it's changed both her business and the lifestyle and her energy. So here's the recap. You want to reflect and observe what worked, what didn't work, and you want to celebrate your wins and honor all that you've done, right? You want to map all that out. You want to dream on where you want to go. And then, based upon where you want to go, what worked, what didn't work, then we create an actionable plan. And we also anticipate obstacles, whether they're obstacles in our mind, our mindset blocks, inherited energetic blocks, or physical life circumstances. And then we had the case studies. Oops, I think I had one of my other clients in there. And so I have something special for you today, and this applies. I do have several clients here as well, so this applies to you as well. If you want to renew early, just let me know. I have a 6-month one-to-one program. If you're wanting my eyes on your business each week, either on a call or through direct message, you want feedback on your plan, you want feedback on your marketing, your messaging, streamlining workshops, creating your offers, all that I've done with Betty and Rachel and Dana and, a bunch of you here, then your next step is to book a consultation. And I'll drop the link in the comments there for a moment, or you can go to my website at igniteyourwellness.com. But I'm just going to leave this up for a moment so I can tell you the Black Friday things. I'm going to give you a personalized content plan to help you create content quicker. I'm going to write a launch email sequence, so 5 emails, and I'll do a website audit of 5 pages or less if you do sign up. Now, some of you already, I know, have consults scheduled, so amazing. We'll talk on that call whether you're a good fit for one-to-one. I also have, and this is exciting news, a group program coming up in February of next year where, like I said, I'm bringing in the Manifest and Move. We're going to move forward as a community doing this work as well if you're not ready for one-to-one. My one-to-one clients will get this group program for free, so you get additional calls if you want to jump on it. You'll get the Manifest and Move as well. So if you're unsure if you want to do one-to-one or group, your next best step is to book a consultation. And then we'll talk about what's going on for you. We'll talk about if working with me at all is a great fit. And for sure, you'll leave knowing what you should prioritize or what my recommendations of what you might want to prioritize for next year to hit that goal of what you're wanting to hit. So one-to-one sessions Kavita, we do 3 calls a month for the 6 months. So it's 20 calls total. And then you also have access to direct message me in between. And I've found that that rhythm allows for life circumstances to happen and rescheduling and vacation and also just space to implement things and then bring to the call. So we do 3 calls a month. Sometimes there's a month that has, a 5th week, then we do 4 calls, but it's 20 calls total for that. And right now, the cost of my one-to-one 6-month program is $5,500 pay in full. I do have payment plans. And it will be going up in January for new clients coming in. If you're currently working with me, you get to be locked in. Thank you, Lindsay. you're locked in, but for new people coming with me in for a good amount of time, but new people coming in, the price will be increasing. So I'm gonna stop sharing here. We're gonna get to the rest of the time. We're gonna get to questions and coaching on the plan, where you might feel stuck, where you're feeling roadblocks, anything that we've talked about today. We'll talk about it. So I'm just gonna grab my consult link. So if any of you do want to book a consult, you can do that as well. And if my clients, if you do want to renew early, I'll also give you the Black Friday specials as well. You can just let me know. Okay, I'm going to come back up to some people that might have wanted coaching or wanted to talk about their plans and didn't have the opportunity to before. I think Krista was one. Oh, here we go. Yes, Arlene did share. Krista, do you have any questions? Would you like to come up? Are you still here? Oh, there she is.
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
Yeah, I think um my main thing is that I feel like I've kind of hit a ceiling on my one-to-ones. Like I know I need to raise my rates, but I've hit my capacity. And
Mm-hmm.
then I'm not seeing enough new people come through to charge my new rates. So then I'm
Mm,
like, oh, I don't want to I'm afraid to raise my
mm,
current because, right? So there's that. But then the other thing that I've been feeling for a long time is that I think Betty talked about she has like a series that people can come in and they can kind of get a taste for 6 weeks and it's like a lower ticket offer. And then maybe
mm-hmm.
that funnels into the higher ticket. So I've been
Mm-hmm.
kind of feeling that for a long time. And then I think the other thing is my views on Instagram have just gone way down. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm like, is it ad time for me? So I have like all of these things in my head, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure like which one to just be like, yeah, that.
Yeah, what's the simplest path? Can I ask right now, what are you charging in one-to-one, and what do you want to make it be?
Right now, I'm charging, so it's varied 92 to 102, and I sell 6 and 12 pack sessions.
Mm-hmm.
I would like it to be closer to like 125
Mm-hmm.
each session. And that's my like where my realistic headspace is. I'm really afraid to go over that. I feel crazy
What comes up?
that I can't charge that much for movement coaching.
Mm.
And there is a deep energetic component, and there's
Mm-hmm.
all of that mindset piece that I know I
Mm-hmm.
offer and I know I hold space for people.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the main thing that comes up is like, if I went over that, I'm not, yeah. Even if I thought of someone charging 250, I would be like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, they're a person who's like, they're doing hands-on work in an office. Like,
Uh-huh.
there's just a different feel. In my mind, there's a big
Sure.
block here. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and I'll tell you, as someone that started charging $60 a session, and then even virtual sessions, I charge virtual B2C, meaning clients like my patients are over 300. So I can tell you that how I got there was just focusing on one step at a time. So do
Yeah.
you feel that way for the 125?
I feel well, I haven't been able to hit that. Like I've been able to hit like 102 and people are comfortable. But when I did up my rates, like some of my current clients went down to like 2 times a month instead of the three
Mm,
to four.
mhm. And that's normal. That sometimes happens.
That
Yeah.
happens, right? And I
Uh-huh.
get that. But like I do feel like 125 is fair. And I
Hmm.
feel like I can, especially for new people, I feel really comfortable being like, this is the cost.
Okay, I can see that.
Yeah.
Um, One thing, and you're onto it too, is that it is normal when you do raise your rates. Now, what I do sometimes, and you're seeing me doing it right here, is a staggered thing where my current clients, they stay at my existing rate for a while longer. Sometimes it's 3 months, sometimes it's 6 months, sometimes it's a year they might stay at, because it gives me sufficiency and safety in my business that those people are there, they're comfortable with that rate, and they keep going
Yeah.
while I learn how to sell at a new rate and get more new people in. And then that at some point that changes, where you're like, okay, now I have enough new people at my new rate where now I need to go to my clients and give them a heads up and say, hey, actually, next month my prices are going to go up for you. And that helps some. Um, and
That's where I would love
uh-huh,
to be, and I've been
uh-huh.
working towards that for what feels like a really long time.
What
But
do you
it
think? Yeah, what do you think gets in the way or blocks that?
well, new leads, like being
Mm,
able to generate new enough leads that
mm-hmm,
then I can charge the new rates to the new leads. And
mm-hmm,
then because the new people that came in for me, which is something that did work really well, they came in most from Instagram.
mm-hmm,
I did charge the new rates,
mm-hmm,
right? But then I was like, okay, well, if this keeps happening, like maybe two or three or maybe more people, then I'll be able to
mm-hmm.
do them at the new rates, and then I'll be able to up my client.
Yeah. Okay. So
But
you're
it just
almost
didn't
there.
happen. Yeah, it just didn't happen. So then I'm like, if I lose another client now, I'm going to be in a real bind financially.
Sure.
So that's where I'm like, it doesn't feel like I can ever get to that abundant place where then I'm like, oh, no problem if you need to go down to two. No problem if you need to go a different direction.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You want to be aware of the no's. So, okay. So that's where the Instagram comes in. So you said that you were getting some new clients from Instagram. Did it trickle off then?
It trickled off. It definitely trickled off. And I just wonder if I was hitting at the right point when the people who had been like lurking for a while were finally like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I'm ready and this is good.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but now I'm wondering if like people maybe who I know there are a few in there. I only have
Mm-hmm.
1,300 followers, but I know
Mm-hmm.
there are a few.
Mm-hmm.
Like, are they still needing to be nurtured in my content, or is my content just not hitting and my messaging? You know what I mean? Like, there's always,
Yeah.
where's the leaks happening? There's so many
Uh-huh.
possibilities.
Yeah. No, you're very intuitive with your business. I love this. So a couple of things. I think you're right on. Your suspicions are on. I would trust your intuitions, but let me provide some suggestions. Is that if your views are going down, a couple of things. Yes, the algorithm is shifting, but it might also mean that messaging that worked before is either it has to be spiced up a little bit, or it's the messaging needs to shift some. That it's that it if messaging that was working to bring in clients and get views isn't working anymore, then it's keep doing those, but also bring in some more content where you're testing messaging. Are you doing that now?
No,
Yeah, I
no.
would test some new messaging. Like for me, if I'm doing 7 posts a week, let's say, I might test, I might double down on what has brought in people and got me views, like 5 of those posts, and then 2 I'm testing. So if they don't work at all, it's not going to completely bomb my views, but I'm not going to beat myself up if a reel only gets 200 or 400 because I knew it was a test. I'm testing it.
Okay.
And then while you're testing, what something is not talked about, except we talk about it a lot in my Instagram program, is um, a behind the scenes work of actually you carving time in your schedule. For me, what I do is I post and I always leave 10 to 20 minutes where I am going to who's in my stories, and I'm looking at those little bubbles of who's watching my stories and new followers and even people that aren't even following me at all on Instagram, and I started messaging with them. Not copy and paste DM messaging, but conversations like you and I have had, like, hey, how are things going? Tell me what's going on with you, right? And some of them, the conversations I have, lead to consults because I can say if someone's really struggling with things, like I can say, oh, that's exactly what I do. Have you considered working with someone? Would you like to schedule a call? Some of the conversations don't go anywhere because it's not appropriate or they already have a coach or whatever, whatever. But it can be the fuel. It can bring such fuel to your page because a couple of things, like if you're actually having real human conversations with people, then your content is going to be shown to them more. So it really does help your views. And those people, because you are having conversations with them, are more likely to like your posts.
Right.
And then when a messaging does land for them, they're also more likely to book a consult.
Okay.
So, with new followers, I will with stories, I just comment on the people that are watching my stories already following me. I usually go to their stories and I'm commenting on things. I might if they're I just comment something on their page, just anything to start a conversation and then try to direct the conversation to the work that I do if it's possible and feels appropriate. And then for new people, I go out and engage with people that don't follow me, and I might engage with them, and I might follow back a certain. I might follow some of those people, and then a certain percentage of them will follow me back, and then that keeps my feed like refreshed with new people too, so it doesn't kind of feel stale. And it does take time, but it really does help in a lot of ways.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So I'd bring some of those. I think the pricing thing you're on, I would be, you know, when you feel confident that you can handle the no's of your current clients, that's when I would raise the price for them. Or the decreasing of the sessions. If you're already selling a higher price to new people, you can keep doing that. And it's just getting more of those people. And then if they're coming from Instagram, you can really double down there in terms
Yeah.
of like personal reach out.
Okay.
Sound
Okay.
good?
Try that. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Let me know how it goes. Okay.
I will.
All right. Okay. So then, Sharon, did you have coaching or did you want to share or both?
I'm okay. I'm okay. If Melissa's here, she can go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. You're good? You sure? Okay. All right.
Here.
Thank you. It's good to see you. All right, Melissa.
I'm actually
Uh,
I'm actually okay too. I was just yeah, there to participate if we needed it.
Okay, awesome. I love that. Do you guys want to share what your goals are at all?
Sure, I can share.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I want to get to 6K months in quarter one.
Mm-hmm.
And then for my two priorities, I would like to be fully booked with one-to-one coaching clients in my coaching program. And I would like to offer my 6-week meditation course. Yeah, and then I put more details, but those were the keys that I put. So I didn't know if that was on the right track for
Yeah.
what you were thinking for this. Yeah.
Yep. Perfect. Now, so the one-to-one, did you list some ways that you thought you were going to, like in terms of planning for quarter one, of what you're going to prioritize to help bring in the one-to-one?
Yeah, just to keep going with all the things that we've been working on. I work one-on-one with you, which has been great. So, but I don't know what else to add. So I'm working on email marketing,
Mm-hmm.
social. So I'm sending one marketing email a week, maybe go to
Mm-hmm.
two when I have things to market or when I have workshops and events. I'm doing social media. I want to up my social media posting. Right now I'm doing once a week. I want to get up at least to twice a week.
Mm-hmm.
On multiple platforms also. I started a podcast and I want to get the podcast back up and running.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Um, offering workshops. I have first one or a couple planned, I guess. But want to keep reaching out to more brick and mortar places that I can partner with to do that.
Mm-hmm.
That's the online marketing stuff. And then in person, continuing networking and finding people to collaborate with, power partners, other people to collaborate with in wellness. Oh yeah, and then workshops and yeah, and more speaking opportunities.
Okay, I love all that. I don't think you need to add more for sure.
Yeah.
That is
Okay.
a gold mine right there.
Yeah.
And probably inspired a lot of people. What I would ask to you is, does that all of that feel sustainable in your schedule?
Well, it's been so all of it's new. So
Hmm.
it's been like lately my schedule has been kind of wonky because adding all these new things in. So I feel like I'm not quite at a place where I feel like it's gonna get comfortable, but I'm not at a and I keep believing you that it is going to, when when we're working together. But right now, yeah, it feels overwhelming.
Hmm. Okay, so you want, and I know people are having to jump off because we're at the hour. So thank you so much for attending. I'll keep going for a little bit longer, and I do want to look through the list too. So I'm okay to stay if you guys are okay to stay. If you have to hop off, hop off. Um, so yes, it does get comfortable. Sometimes there is still a stickiness in the growth edge in terms of, because as entrepreneurs, again, we always have all these ideas, and it's really knowing what to prioritize to get the most mileage. So for you, I think if you're feeling overwhelmed in your schedule, it's looking at that list and also reviewing what worked to bring in other consults and clients. And if you feel tight on time or energy, is prioritize those things that brought in the clients first and then go to the other things. So it's funny for me, as I was telling Krista, the messaging, even though sometimes the conversations lead nowhere, if I look at where a lot of clients have come from, sometimes it is messaging, sometimes it is workshops. So that's why I make sure I do those consistently. Um, and Instagram without messaging, but sometimes it is the messaging. But it's often the first thing my brain wants to let go of when I feel maxed for my time. So for everyone, it's being aware of knowing what has worked so you don't let go of it. So I would keep, because we're newer to getting more consistent consults. So keep track of what is bringing the people. And then when you feel overwhelmed for time, focus on what does bring in the people. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Thoughts?
Well, yeah, so totally that, but then there's the things that we're starting to do that I feel like I know are going to bring in
Mm-hmm.
consults. Like the workshops, the in-person things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I just want to do it all. I'm just excited and
Yeah.
want to do it all.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, just, go for it. Go ham as much as you feel sustainable, right?
Right.
What I do is, so when I say prioritize, what that means is if I have 2 hours in my schedule of no clients, and I don't have to pick up my daughter yet, I'm going to do first that direct messaging. And then I might do what Arlene said, is put a time limit on it. I'm going to do some direct messaging for 30 minutes, maybe a little bit longer than what I normally do, especially if I'm really wanting or needing consults. And then I'm going to spend the extra half hour. And then I'm going to so then I'm going to make sure, sorry, I got ahead of myself. I might spend a half hour, make sure like my emails are written and my social media posts are done. And then if I have whatever time's left over for that, whether it's a full hour or 20 minutes, I might focus on that new thing. So it's
Yeah.
kind of layering the time that way. And it's not a perfect thing. There's no like exact ratio. Again, you have a hunch and you're going to try to follow your hunch.
Yeah, I need to get better at building and having that extra space in there, I guess.
That's huge. And it is hard. It was really hard for me when I first started doing this in my schedule to write out buffer and not
Hmm.
put anything in it. But it's like a vacuum. If you write out buffer, things are always going to get in it. And it gives me time to make sure that the things that do keep my business going are done. And I do have time to test things too, like what you're doing.
Yeah, and another part of it too is getting better at figuring out how much time each task takes, how much
Mm-hmm.
time each thing takes. And also sticking with the time that I block for how much that thing, like I think Arlene was talking about that earlier, right? Like blocking the time, not getting into perfectionism, and like this is how much,
Yep.
ding the
Exactly.
bell, put the pencil down.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you got it. Yeah, so you know your priorities. I think for you is we'll just have to watch, and you're the expert here, the sustainability for that. So you don't overdo it.
Yeah,
That's good.
that's how we got there.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Really nice. Good. Okay. Anything else?
Thank you. No.
You're welcome. Okay, I'm just going to cycle through this list here. People are connecting. Make sure I didn't miss anyone. Is there anyone that has a question or feels stuck before we jump off here for today? I'm looking through the list. Have to go. Kavita asked how much time spent developing and planning workshops. Typically the workshops, she's still here. 2 hours. Most people do 2-hour workshops. And I usually have people start planning it, like leave a month to market and like another 2 to 4 weeks to plan it and get all the materials ready. Okay. iPhone, what's your name? You're muted.
Is that me?
That is you.
Apologize. I'm Liara Kahonaile.
Oh, there you are. Hello. So
Hi.
good to see you.
Aloha. Yes, great to see you.
Aloha.
And I jumped on late. What I did want to share, because I know it's limited, and so I appreciate all that you do and share all the time, Allison. And my thing where I'm at is getting back to teaching. I am a yoga teacher and community curator and program manager. So I have other positions that I do, but getting back to teaching, and I've been curating these Wellness Wednesdays. I
Okay.
have this platform, and I just keep getting stuck with the sharing and inviting many people to this one event. And uh, that's where I'm at. And so that's my platform to begin again teaching, and then it can grow to online and all the things. So
Okay.
my question, yes,
Uh-huh.
go ahead.
So what you're saying, just for clarification, is that you want to promote the Wellness Wednesdays and you're feeling blocked there?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know what the block is? Is it like time or is it a thought, mindset?
It's something around maybe the abundance and the the there's something around the receiving abundance and the showing of everyone, and I would believe that's more the blocking, because I've spent so much intention. I keep thinking about it and keep refining all the things in the post and the what the event is, and keep working on the program. And so, but it's like a thing working in for years, to be able to return home and be in a place of really being able to do the work and community and bring community. So it's around of like affordability and making it affordable for those that I'm trying to reach and the market that I'm in,
Mm-hmm.
because it's a community. It's a lot of maybe lower poverty like
Mm-hmm.
like being straight, like lower impoverished. So I feel like a lot of times like I just want to give and teach just
Mm-hmm.
for them, but I
Mm-hmm.
know I need to earn as well.
Uh-huh.
So,
Yeah, and that's a slightly different topic, but in a nutshell, you could do a Wellness Wednesday that's either free to the community or lower ticket. But then if you're, coming back to, what we talked about earlier, and you can listen to the replay, but if you're seeding your program, like how you can also have one-to-ones, right? And you can seed that next step. And those, because they're in a community, there will be those that are able to afford it. And so you're speaking to those people for the next step. So the goal would be to get as many people to the Wellness Wednesdays as possible, and then seed the next step for those that can afford it. That's what I'd be focusing on for you in a big picture. And then just, you know, trying to show up. I know you're on Facebook. Show up in the marketing channels that feel most natural and where you currently are. Maybe some of it is in person, and just spreading the word everywhere for the Wellness Wednesday. And if people aren't taking you up on that offer for the Wellness Wednesday, I find it's two things. It's either frequency of talking about it. So you just have to do more, you know, visibility, or it's the messaging of what you're actually saying. And that just needs to be refined.
Okay. I
Does that give
appreciate
you
that. That's very
direction?
helpful. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you for
Okay.
now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. It's beautiful to connect. I always
You
love having you
too.
in the manifest and move. It's great.
Yes. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Mahalo.
Okay. All right. So anyone remaining here have any final questions? I got a lot of thank yous, super helpful, organizing their thoughts. Anyone left? Leslie, Leanne. Oh, Leanne's working. Kayla, you guys have any questions before we take off? Feeling good, Leslie? Since I can see your face.
Yeah, yeah. Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Um I'm definitely one that is stuck in my dance studio practice,
Mm-hmm.
and so still not um clear on what else is possible for me to. I want to create a program, more
Mm-hmm.
full-fledged program and or online, but not.
Mm-hmm.
I've been playing with that. Teaching, like I call it the graceful method, so helping women to get feel more sexy in their bodies, basically, and use Latin dance as a way to get there.
Ooh, I like that.
Good. Yeah, so I'm just shy to offer that. I don't know why.
Mm.
There's something
Mm.
to show up in on Instagram and things like that about, you know, it's almost like I feel like it's not I like I'm not confident enough in my own sensuality, which is ridiculous, but it seems to what shows to be what's showing up. And then I just vacillate so much that I'm not making decisions.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
need to choose what my message is, because I also teach people with Parkinson's. I've taught ballroom dance for 30 years. I've done all these things,
Uh-huh.
life coaching and all that, but not really. I just turned 60 and I'm wanting to put it all together.
Wow,
And
you look amazing.
thank you. And I'm feeling very, it's just a little daunting. The one step at a time is, I'm not, it's too, like, I'm just managing just to teach my students as it is now, which is
Yeah.
we're finally coming back and touching each other in the dance studio, like
Uh-huh.
pandemic. Literally now my business is starting up again,
Okay, got it.
taking this long. And so I've mastered, I know I can teach online, but I don't really want to do the dance stuff
Mm-hmm.
online. And I teach my Parkinson's class, and that I can do that online. But
Mm-hmm.
it's just this for further development, and just having a bigger picture. That's what
Yeah.
really gets me. So,
Yeah. Here's a suggestion.
mhm.
Because there's a lot in your head. I would continue to get it all out of your head onto paper,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
And here's what I would prioritize is the dance studio, because that's bringing in revenue, right? But I would block off, and I don't know what it mean to you, but for example, 2 hours a week to start building this online program or marketing it at least. And when you are like, if you're showing up on Instagram to market the online program, the Grace one, just try different messaging. Because see, sometimes you just have to put stuff out there and see how it lands. And it doesn't have to be niched and it doesn't have to be perfect. Just go with an idea that comes to you and then put it out there and see how it lands. And
Okay.
then over time, you're going to see, oh, that messaging got a little bit more engagement or it got a little bit more views. Repeat that just start testing it that way. Um, and then here's the thing with the online program is there is a little bit of the unknown and uncertainty because especially if you haven't ever brought students or clients through it before, right? And I know a lot of practitioners, all of you really care about results, making sure that people see transformation and progress. And it's one thing that there's different ways you could do it. You could take 3 or 5 people through the process for free and just see how it goes with them and get some confidence under your belt. Or like what Betty did was she did the 6 weeks at a price that felt like a no-brainer to her, where she could test it at $297 for the 6 weeks. And then over time, she can always raise it. And it's knowing that because it's new, it is going to feel a little pukey.
Okay.
It's going to feel a little pukey. But if you have the intention of like monitoring clients, you can always add in more calls. If people aren't progressing, you can always add in another month and say, hey, let's keep going. There's different ways to test things so that you develop more confidence in it. And because you just have to start somewhere and let it feel pukey too.
Right. Yeah, because my sense is that's the most uncomfortable thing since I know that I can do the Parkinson's but it doesn't light me up. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's heart-wrenching. These people die,
I know.
and I
Yeah.
love them so much. And it would, for sustainability and for my own joy, that's what I'm working on. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think that will be, and it's just scary doing it online.
It is. Totally was in your shoes years ago, and you just have to start in a place that feels accessible. Like I said, offer a few for free, but just put a deadline on it. So you're not like after 3 people, then I'm charging. Or start at a rate that feels like, okay, yes, they're going to invest. They'll have some skin in the game, but I don't feel like it feels good for me for like trialing some things. So either can work. And then you're just going to test it. You're, as one of my friends would say, kind of gag and go
Yeah,
and figure out, like, get people through there and get testimonials and track it.
great. Thank you. Very
Yeah.
grateful. It's just great to
Yeah.
hear it out loud and be heard and to know it could work and
Yes. A
not
hundred
worry.
percent.
Just to have that as just go for it. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. You're very welcome. And show your clients like you are a living example of this. So just show them too.
Thank
And
you.
you'll be an inspiration for others.
Aw, makes me cry. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. You're very welcome. Yeah. I can't wait to see. Let me
Okay.
know.
Thank
Okay.
you.
You're
Appreciate it.
very welcome. Okay. All right. Talk to you tomorrow. Okay. I think that's a wrap for today. Thank you so much for everyone who came, watched on the replay, participated. It was so good to see everyone. And I look forward to seeing you all the next time. Okay. Bye. Bye.